Now, successfully we had completed National Income Accounting chapter of board material. Two topics, national income and Keynesian theory also completed. Right now we are entering into the second unit of board material, that is fiscal policy. This chapter has been divided into 4 units. The first unit is fiscal functions. So I am starting with the topic of fiscal functions. In this chapter we are going to study only totally 4 topics. Let's know what are they. The first topic, role of government in market economy, and these theories were given by 2 persons in our material. One is Adam Smith and the next one is Richard Musgrave. Richard Musgrave explained the role of government in the market economy in 3 types. One is allocation function. So the one answer will be regarding allocation function of government, that is resource allocation function. And the next topic is related to distribution function, which was explained by Richard Musgrave. And the last one is stabilization function. With this we can conclude this chapter. That is fiscal functions. Okay, right. The first topic here I told you, it is regarding to the role of government in capitalist economy. First let me tell you what is the capitalist economy in this chapter. Right. So basically how the economic has been arised, you have to know. Because of scarcity. Because of scarcity, price arises. When the price arises, to purchase those goods and services, we are participating in economic activities. Just imagine all the goods and services in the world are available at free. Do any person will work? Well, right now I will share all this subject for you. Will you listen to at this time? Not at all necessary to anyone to participate in economic activities, first of all. So, economic activities has been started because of scarcity of resources before the unlimited wants. Yes or no? Scarcity is a basic economic problem in all the countries. For the underdeveloped countries, for the developing countries, so the so-called developed countries also. Not only on this, but also we can consider based on the ownership of factors of production. Yes, right. Based on ownership of factors of production, or distribution, we are having 3 types of economies. The first one is capitalist economy. In the capitalist economy, the resources are owned by the factors of production are owned by the private individuals. Production will be performed by the private individuals. Distribution also will be performed by the private individuals. Hence, we can call that here each and every concept of economic activity will be dealt by the private sector. Okay. Yes. How it will fixes the prices. It doesn't mean of writing cost sheet, cost of sales plus profit is equal to sales. If cost of profit is about 1 crore, let us take the profit as 10 crores. Let us make it the price as sales as, right. It doesn't mean that here the price should be acceptable by the common public. Yes or no? So we can say that how the price will be fixed here, right. In the private sector or in the capitalist economy, how the prices will be determined? Through the market forces. What are the market forces? Demand and supply. If demand and supply, buyer and seller, consumer and producer is equilibrium point, and this is the equilibrium price, and this is the equilibrium output. So whenever you get the curves of both demand and supply, you have to consider it as market, and this mechanism is known as market mechanism. Can you understand? In the private sector, the prices are determined by the market mechanism. So we call the capitalist economy as market economy. Hope you might have understood. In the market mechanism, what we are finding out? Equilibrium price. Okay. We are finding out equilibrium price. So capitalist economy is also known as market economy. Okay. Do government interfere in fixing the prices? No. Do government interfere in economic activities here? No. So we can say that here there is no government intervention. If there is no government intervention, we have to call it as free. Free means not no price. It is no government restrictions or no government interference. So we can call the capitalist economies also as free economy or market economy, right? Socialist. In the socialist economy, the prices are fixed by the ownership of factors of production and distribution activities also lies in the hands of the government. Okay, right? In the hands of the government. How the government fix the prices? Through its budget. What is the budget? A financial statement which records the revenue and expenditure of a government. That is public revenue, government revenue, public revenue, government expenditure, public expenditure. That's it, no? Right? A financial statement which records funds like that, non-trading concern, how you maintain different kinds of books. In the same manner, our government also maintain a non-trading concern account, that is receipts and payments account, or income and expenditure account known as budget. That budget records as usual revenue and expenditure. Expenditure on the debit side and revenue on the credit side, it will be recorded, right? The last one is mixed economy. Here the production, ownership of factors of production, everything lies in the hands of the both government, some in government hands, some in private hands, both private and government. But in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the capitalist economy, right? We are discussing about the capitalist economy. But wherever you get the capitalist economy, nowhere in your material, that is board material or whatever it may be, you could not find the word of capitalist. They use the word of market economy. Because in the capitalist economy, through market mechanism, prices will be determined. So we call that economy as market economy or free market economy. That's it. What is the first concept I told you that we are going to discuss? Role of government in which economy? Market economy, not the socialist economy or neither the mixed economy. We are discussing about the market economy. Right, the first one. Role of government in the market economy has been given by two personalities. The first one is Adam Smith, our father of microeconomics or economics. Right. The second one was given by Richard Musgrave. Let us go with the first one according to Adam Smith. According to Adam Smith, the role of government is minimum. Role of government is minimum in which economy? Capitalist economy or market economy? Don't write capitalist, it is write market economy. Right. So what will be its function? Its functions are very basic, that is traditional functions. What are the traditional functions that are performed by the basic functions that are performed by the Adam Smith, that are performed by the government in the market economy? In the words of Adam Smith, only three. What are they? The first one is national defense, security from outside different countries, to protect our country from other countries, to protect our citizens within the country, that is justice and rule of law. Right. The next one is public institutions. The last one is public projects. What are these public projects, ma'am? Can we know? Certainly, children, especially infrastructural facilities, railways, roadways, like this. Actually, for this, there will be a long gestation period. In your accounting words, we can say that a long payback period. Yes or no? But the rate of return is very less for this. So the projects, especially infrastructural projects or whatever it may be, if the gestation period is long and there are low profits, otherwise we can say that long payback period and low rate of return, many private entrepreneurs will not come forward to establish these things. So the government itself has to accept these activities. So we can say that according to Adam Smith, right, in the capitalist economy or market economy, the role of government is very minimum and it is confined only to perform the traditional functions which are defense, law and rule, justice and rule of law. The next one, public institutions and public works, which are not carried out by the private sector because of long payback period and low rate of return. Right. But after 1930s great economic depression, among the world, especially the capitalist economies or market economies, the government has been realized in those economies that the private sector cannot recover the economy. The government should come forward to recover the economy. The private sector, it itself cannot recover of its own. How can it recover the economy? It's not possible. So the government should come forward. So in addition, after 1930s Great Economic Depression, economists found out that in the capitalist economy or market economy, the government role has to be changed. The government should perform not only the traditional functions, but also in addition to this, it has to go some economic function. Or these economic functions has to be carried by money. So we call it as financial. Whose finance? Government finance. So we call them as public finance function. So we call them as economic functions or public finance functions. Also, right, as they are performed by the government, whatever it may be, the term prefix, if we are using fiscal, means it will be performed by the government. So we call them as fiscal functions. Hope you can understand. After 1930s Great Economic Depression, we came to know that in the capitalist economy, the private sector cannot recover the economy. So the government should come forward not only with the traditional functions, but also it has to add some economic functions or fiscal functions or public finance functions. That is the chapter before us. And this was explained by Richard Musgrave and it be expressed here. Right. According to Richard Musgrave, right? According to Richard Musgrave, 3-branch taxonomy we can say, 3 classification. Taxonomy means classification we can say, right? According to him, what is the concept? Right. Till now the government performed traditional function. Right now this economic functions has been classified into 3. The first one is resource allocation function or allocation function. The second function is distribution function or redistribution function. The last one is stabilization function. What is resource allocation function? Right. Resources are scarce. Yes or no? So these scarce resources has to be utilized efficiently, so that there should be neither overproduction nor underproduction. Yes or no? So that there should be neither overproduction nor underproduction. So to bring that efficiency in the economy regarding to scarce resources, how could we use these resources for the best use? So the government came forward with the resource allocation function. Ma'am, how can it perform the resource allocation function? Yes, the government itself participates in the economic activities regarding to this. Otherwise, it will go, right, I am a government. I want to encourage this resource. This resource can be used for this particular good so that it can increase the efficiency of the economy. I feel means I'll give subsidy, government expenditure. If I feel that this resource utilizing for this purpose is extremely waste, then what I will do? I will levy taxes. Can you understand? So through budget, I will allocate the resources. If the resource is purposeful, I'll go for the subsidies. If the resource is not purposeful for that particular production, I will levy high taxes. So through budget, I want to allocate the resources. Hope you might have understood. Right. Let us take the example water, which is very scarce, especially during April and May month in India. Yes or no? Right. Summer. That water has different uses: domestic purpose, industrial purpose, agricultural purpose, commercial purpose, generation of electricity purpose. Right. During summer, we as a government, to whom we have to allot? Many people go for the agriculture. Especially in those times, there will be no crops. So no need to allot for agriculture. If we allot water, resource of water to agriculture, it will be wastage of resources. No? So the government comes forward, to whom we have to allocate the resource like that. And while we are allocating the resources, you can assume that we are studying each purpose separately: domestic purpose, industrial purpose, agricultural purpose, commercial purpose, at the same time generation of electricity purpose. We are studying separately. When we are studying the concept separately, we call it as microeconomic function. So that's it. We can say that allocation function is a microeconomic function through which the government wants to bring efficiency in the allocation of resources. That's it now? Right. Over. Next, distribution function. The major problem in the market economy is income inequalities. Right now in the developing countries or mixed economies, the major problem is unemployment and poverty. But in the capitalist economies, the major problem is income inequalities. The government want to reduce the income inequalities, right? What it started, the rich should not become richer and the poor should not become poorer, so that we can bring equality between these two. So the government came forward for this purpose by levying taxes on the rich so that rich cannot become richer, by giving subsidies to the poor so that the poor cannot become poorer, so we can reduce the income inequalities. The government wants to bring equality in the distribution of income and wealth, that is equity with reasonable grounds. So equity and fairness it wants to bring, and it is separate. It is studying separately rich and poor. So once again it is a microeconomic function. So we can say that distribution function or redistribution function is a microeconomic function, as we are studying rich and poor separately, right? To achieve equitable distribution of income and wealth. That means equity. It's not equity, it's equality and fair, reasonable, like that. Right. The last one is stabilization function. When there are instabilities in the economy, the government has to bring stability, not only in one aspect, in all the aspects. Yes or no? So we call it as macroeconomic function. This stabilization has to bring as price stability, growth stability, like that, economic growth, like that. What are the concepts which are applicable for the stability? We can go with them, and this can be brought by the government, and this policy is known as fiscal policy. Even along with this, the central bank has to work. So we can say that this stabilization can be brought through fiscal policy and also monetary policy. That's it. We had completed one question according to the role of government in the capitalist economy or market economy. In the words of Adam Smith and Richard Musgrave, it is completed. And the next one is resource allocation function. The next one is distribution function. And the last one is stabilization function. The first one is allocation function. I told you what is meant by allocation. The allocation must be kept for the best use and there should be no wastage. Then only we can say that allocation will be efficient. Yes or no? Right? You can watch out the sentence. What is allocation function or resource allocation? Every economic system aims at the efficient allocation of scarce resources, that is best use to be available, and there should be no wastage. But this is possible only in the perfect competition, which does not occur in the real world. We are in the imperfect competition, right? So let it right. Who will allocate the resources in the capitalist economy? In the socialist economy, we are having two types of economies. Yes or no? In the capitalist economies and socialist economies are mixed economy. First, let's go in the capitalist economy. In the capitalist economy, who will allocate the resources? Owners of resources are none other than private sector. So, private sector resource allocation we can say. In the socialist economy, who will fix? Ownership lies in the hands of government. So, government. So, instead of government, you have to write the state. In UK English, we represent government as a state. So, we can say that resource allocation can be performed by the two. If it is done by the private sector, we call it as private resource allocation. If it is done by the government, we call it as a state resource allocation. I already told you in the capitalist economy. In the capitalist economy, I told you market mechanism. Government through budget. That's it. Market, we will be having what are the concepts or components of market? Demand, supply, price. That's it. So, private sector's resource allocation is done by the market forces, that is demand. Who will demand? Consumer. Consumer sovereignty, maximum satisfaction. And supply. Supply who will do? Producer, profit sake. Producer's profit motive. And price. That's it now. Right. The next one. State resource allocation. Government. Government, how can it allocate? Through taxes and government expenditure. So, we can say that simply as government budget. That's it. Right. Do children, if efficient allocation of resources, that there is no need to stand and explain by me and to listen by you, yes or no? Right. There is in the economy, what are the concepts relating to allocation of resources? Means we are in the imperfect competition. Nowhere we can say that the resources are fully utilized. Resources are underutilized in somewhere and overutilized in some process. Underproduced in some places, overproduced in some process. Or underconsumed by in some areas, overconsumed by some areas. Take the example of consumers, you can get the knowledge. Demerit goods, they will be overconsumed. Merit goods, they will be underconsumed. Yes or no? Right. Now, what is misallocation of resources? Efficient allocation is fuller utilization. Misallocation means either over or under. That's it, the definition. Yes or no? You can go to the definition. Right. If a free market, I'm asking that it is a capitalist economy. Yes or no? Right. Our topic rotates around the capitalist economy. In the capitalist economy, free market means capitalist economy. If the society fails to allocate the scarce resources, it leads to no efficient allocation. So how it will be the result? It may be either overproduction of some goods and services or underproduction of another goods and services. That's it, no? That's it, no? Right now, is market success or failure? Market becomes success only when there is fuller production, but there is no fuller production. Some products are overproduced and some products are underproduced. That's why we call this I told you allocation. Allocation means efficient allocation. That means best use, no wastage. What is misallocation? Misallocation means inefficient allocation. Inefficient allocation means fuller utilized. Yes, here underproduced or overproduced, and we call it as market success or market failure. So if you get the word of misallocation or market failure, one and the same. Hope you can understand. Misallocation or market failure, one and the same. So the question may be, what are the reasons for the market failure, or what are the reasons for the misallocation of resources? Like that, whatever they may ask, one and the same, because misallocation of scarce resources leads to market failure. That's it. What is misallocation? Either overproduction or underproduction. Right. That's it. Reasons for the market failure. Yes, we are having one chapter separately on this. There we can go with the meaning regarding to this. And totally we are having 6 reasons for the market failure. The first one is monopoly power. The second one is externalities. The third one is public goods. The fourth one is incomplete information. The fifth one is imperfect inequalities in distribution of income and wealth. The first one is factor immobility. Sixth, in this syllabus, we are not going to discuss this factor immobility, and the 5 topics will be discussed. As they are in further discussions, right now I am not going with the topic. Monopoly power, only single person, right? Less output, underproduction, over, market failure, right? Public goods, government goods, which are, do roads and infra is everything okay? Sufficient to the growing population? No, underproduced. Externalities, pollution. I have to explain that concept in the particular topic. Imperfect information, right? Regarding to whether the exams will be conducted or not, whether to read or not. It's a dilemma. Right now you can have whether under reading or over reading, like that. Right? Inequalities. Inequalities leads to rich become richer. So luxury goods will be overproduced. Poor becomes poorer. Nobody are ready to produce the necessary goods. So necessary goods will be underproduced, luxury will be overproduced, like that. Imperfect mobility. Sometimes the labor cannot move from one place to another place, so that vacancies will remain. It leads to underproduction, like that. Right? And we can discuss this topics in market failure chapter. That's it. Right? Now, when a market is in failure with the underproduction or overproduction, right, the government through fiscal functions come forward, that is resource allocation function. What is the aim of the resource allocation function? The first one, we have to improve the efficiency of the utilization of resources. That's it now. What is the first one? To improve the efficiency of the efficient utilization of resources so that the economy can become efficient. For this, the government uses the tools of government expenditure and taxes, together is known as budget. That's it now. Is it okay? To improve the economic performance through expenditure and tax, that is nothing but budget. Next, it has to decide who should be taxed. Do all the people are equally taxed? No. Especially if you go to the direct taxes, we can say that simply it is a progressive, right? Who should be taxed and what type of goods and services are to be taxed? Go for the topic, ma. Do GST is one and the same on all the goods and services? We are having different slab rates up to 28% of slab rate. Yes or no? So we can say very easily that. So who should be taxed? what should be taxed and how it should be spent, so that we can make resource efficiently utilized and the economic performance will be smooth. The next one is revision. Next, we have to see that while we are utilizing the resources, the economy should possess maximum combination of two topics. What are they? Public goods and merit goods. As common utilization goods should come forward. At the same time, also which goods? They should be merit goods, right? Each and everyone approaching to the exams. Okay, each and every student is coming on bike. So what happens? Automatically what happens? Pollution increases. If they use a common transportation, what happens? Pollution decreases. So the government wants to encourage. So if common transportation is there, petrol utilization will decreases, pollution also decreases. If each individual goes for each vehicle, pollution increases, petrol utilization increases. One day or the other day, the crude oil gets extinct. So to overcome this problem, to make efficient utilization of resources, what the government is planning? The government is planning common goods, that is public goods. Okay, the next one is those goods should be merit goods. Government has to plan accordingly. In the economy, there should be the combination of public goods and also merit goods. Clear? Right. Last one. Right now, the private sector is in failure to allocate the scarce resources efficiently. So, the government has came forward to perform this function. So, the resource allocation should be reallocated from private to public use. Right now, the ownership was laid in the hands of private. Right? It has to be shifted to the government. That's it. It's over. Right? The government has to improve. What's the aim of the allocation function? To improve the economic performance through budget. Who should be and what should be and how it should be spent has to be decided. And the third point, optimum combination of merit and public goods should be there in the economy. The last one, the resources right now has to be diverted. Ownership has to be diverted from the private to government. That's it. Ma'am, practically can it is possible in the economy? Do any instruments are there? Right. We can say that there are certain instruments. So for 3 marks, it's sufficient what you have to write. So you can go with this. The first one, the government itself can directly participate in the economic activities. When the resources it finds that it is being wasted and it is not using for the best use, the government itself comes forward to produce. Say electricity, right? The second one, transportation, right? APL. Every state has its own RTC, yes or no? Right. Government wants to promote the public goods, I told you, no? Right. The government can participate directly as an entrepreneur, but it is not possible for the government to produce all the goods and services that are required by the people. So, it also encourages private sector through providing incentives and disincentives. If the society is using the resource in the best manner for the merit purpose, so as a government it can give incentives, that is subsidies, grants, interest-free loans, less interest loans, like that. If the government feels that the product is not utilizing efficiently and it is producing demerit goods and externalities on the third parties, means the government can levy disincentives. That means additional taxes, some restrictions, quantitative restrictions, it can go like that. So the first point, government itself can directly produce the goods and services. Otherwise, it encourages or discourages or incentives or disincentives to the private participation. Next, third part, not only that, sometimes what it can do, it has to control, yes or no? It will make some formalities, in the sense legal formalities, if they void like that. The next one, license fees. Compulsory license has to be taken for some businesses. At the same time, location of the industry to control the pollution, like that. At the same time, merging policies through Competition Act. Next time, administration frameworks. All these combinations together known as intermediate techniques. So the government directly can participate as the producer of goods and services, or otherwise it can encourage private participation by giving incentives or disincentives accordingly. Or third one, it may provide licenses, directives on the location of industry, merging policies, amalgamate through Competition Act, compulsory registration for some purposes, still more controls, we can say administration framework will be there. If any person voids all these things, they will take legal action. All this together is known as intermediate techniques. Whatever the government wants to do, it wants to maximize the social welfare through better resource allocation. Okay. That's it. What's the topic we have concluded right now? Allocation. Allocation is best use, no wastage, fuller utilization. So in a real country, in real world, it's not happening. Misallocation of resources, overproduction or underproduction leads to market failure. This is inefficient. Right. What are the reasons for the market failure? 6 are there. What are they? Monopoly power, public goods, externalities, incomplete information, inequalities in distribution of income, and the last one is imperfect mobility of labor or factor immobility. That's it. Over. The next one. What are the aims of the government regarding to this resource allocation function? Economic performance, who and what should be taxed and how it should be spent, combination of public and merit goods, reallocation of resources from private to public use. It's over. Right. How it is practically implemented? That means the government instruments to bring the allocation function or resource allocation function means you can directly participate, you can provide incentives or disincentives to the private sector, some rules and regulations, all the formalities that are known by you, you can write, and whatever may be the purpose, ultimately we want to maximize the social welfare of the people. That's it. A small topic, that is distribution function of government. What is the distribution function of government? Instead of distribution, we can say that it has redistribution, because the government collects the taxes from the rich and provide in the form of subsidies to the poor. That is, it is redistributing, collecting from one and providing to the others. Yes or no? This is also known as transfer payments. Right. For what purpose the government has introduced this distribution function? To reduce the income inequalities, to bring equalities in distribution of income and wealth. That means equity and fairness has to be brought in the societies. Through what kind of topic? Right, through budget. Once again, taxes on the rich and subsidies. Subsidies means government expenditure to the poor. That's it now. Once again, through budget. Allocation function through budget only. Even this distribution also through budget only. Yes or no? Right, you can have this. For whom to produce, especially we have to consider the poor people here, for whom to produce, and we want to bring equity and fairness in the society. Right. What is the function? What are the aims of the distribution function? The first one is we have to bring equality in all the aspects regarding to output distribution, okay, regarding to equal opportunities, regarding to equal income, regarding to equal wealth. First 2 points are completed. You can watch it out. To achieve equitable distribution of output, equality in income, equality in wealth, and equality in opportunities. Yes or no? We want to bring equality to the people, not only in terms of output, not only in terms of opportunities, not only in terms of income, also in terms of wealth. When do all the people will be having a same income as Jio Ambani? Not like that, ma. Yes, according to their caliber, we have to reduce the inequalities, bus. It doesn't mean of having a equal income to all the people, equal wealth to all the people. Not like that. Okay. According to their caliber, there should be not much difference. We want to reduce the income inequalities. That's so we have to provide equal opportunities, equal income, equal wealth, and also equal social distribution of output. That's over. And the next point is the government has to come forward regarding two more aspects. The point is there are some members, especially vulnerable sections. We used to say, who are the vulnerable sections? Right, SC, ST, BC, at the same time women. In the past, in our past economies and in many countries, even right now we can say that, okay, in USA, racism is going on. Yes or no? Right. So, the people who are suffering, we call them as vulnerable sections. So, to those people, especially here we can consider the poor, we have to advance their well-being. We have to improve their standard of living. The second one is the people who are in problems, we have to provide the security. Security means doesn't mean of gunman like that. A category to Y category security. It doesn't mean of securities like that. Here the security means financial security. Yes, Dwakra for the women like that. Yes, EDP, Entrepreneurship Development Program for the women with subsidized loans like that. Right, not only to women, those who are establishing some industries in the backward areas also, for the male persons also they will give certain subsidy, so to encourage production in those areas like that. So here we want to provide security in terms of financial or any other terms that are required. Okay, as a government, it wants to bring advance in the well-being of the poor people or the people who are facing different kinds of problems. At the same time, we want to give security to the vulnerable sections, or we can say that who are facing different kinds of hardships or problems. That's it. The last one, whatever we want to do, no person in the country should remain as unemployed. Each and every person should be secured with his employment so that he can have minimum standard of living. That's it, no? Every person, there should be no poor, first of all. No poor means each and every person should have a minimum standard of living. That's it. So what's the first one? Equitable distribution of output. What is the second one? Equal income, equal wealth, equal opportunities. What is the third one? Very simple. What is the third one, ma? Advance of the well-being of the people, poor people especially, and the people who are suffering from different kinds of hardships, they should be provided with security, financial security, requirement of the security. The last one, minimum standard of living to each and everyone, so that each and every person should be secured in different aspects regarding to this issue. That's it. Over. Right. Ma'am, can we have any examples? No need to bother. I told you already. The government collects the taxes from the rich and provides subsidies to the poor. What are the two types of taxes? Direct taxes and indirect taxes. Direct taxes are progressive, so rich will be taxed more. At the same time, in the indirect taxes, though they are regressive, they are differential. Necessaries, some necessaries no taxes only, but the luxuries up to 28% they are attracting the slab rate, SR no GST. Right. So we can say that the rich will consume luxuries, so high taxes on the rich consuming luxuries, and poor consume the necessaries and low tax on the, so though these are differential, in the same manner they affect the rich and poor. They are collecting taxes from the rich and providing to the poor. The first 2 points are related to progressive and also right. Ma'am, how can we reduce the problem? How we are providing to poor people? You write all the schemes that have been government introduced, ma'am. Okay. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, 100 days work, so that minimum standard of living can be given. Otherwise, pensions, old age pensions, physically handicapped pensions, widow pensions, unemployment allowances, at the same time midday meal, free education, free health, RRB card like that, free education, free health, subsidized education, subsidized health to the poor, like that. Whatever the schemes you know regarding to that, to benefit the poor, what the government is providing, right? Central government schemes rather than state government, because our evaluation will be at the central level, not at the state level. So you write the central level schemes, right? Self-employment programs, all these poverty alleviation programs, you can write and you can get the marks. The first topic, if you go that, you can find out that progressive taxation and subsidy to the poor. That's it, no? Redistribution of income. We have collected taxes from the rich and provided to the poor. Next one, reservations so that equal opportunity can be obtained. Poverty alleviation programs, transfer payments by the government through unemployment allowances, subsidies, social security schemes like that. Dwakra and all comes under social security schemes. Special schemes for the backward areas, land reforms, gender sensitive budgeting. In a budget, if any separate importance has been given to any gender, say for the male or female or for the gays, whomever they may be, then the budget will be considered as gender sensitive budget. Maternity leaves to the ladies and a special income tax concession to the ladies. Once upon a time it was there, and those kind of budgets will be regarded as gender sensitive budgeting. At the same time, reservation to the gays and reservations not only in political sense, even some jobs also, right? If that type of any launch has been taken by the government, we call them as gender sensitive budgeting. Land reforms, Vinoba Bhave, you can remember, those who have surplus land, they have to give to the landless like that, rich to poor. So all these concepts you can write. Subsidized health and education, free education and health, those who are living below the poverty line. Especially we have to increase the health and education of the people so they can have the long-term employment, that is human capability, health and education, human capital. And the last one is, the first one, rich should not become richer, means we have to control the black money, unaccountable money, so that we can reduce to some extent the differences or inequalities in the economy. To combat the black money, there is nothing but demonetization is one of the example we can see. Whether it is success or not, no need to comment in this class, right? Hope I had completed the distribution function. Allocation function is over, distribution function is also over, and the last function is stabilization function. With this, we can conclude the chapter of unit of fiscal function of the fiscal policy chapter of our board material. Right. Let us see what is the business function. if you learn this answer, in the next chapter, you can learn 8 answers, not 1 or 2. 8 answers we can write. Okay. 8 answers to do means here basic duty is required for you. The government right now wants to bring the function is stabilization function. What is stabilization? When we have to bring stabilization by the government, this is a function, fiscal function or public finance function or economic function that has to be performed by the government in the capitalist economy. When the government has to bring stabilization in the capitalist economy, when there is stability, not necessary. When there is instability. What is this instability? Business cycles are known as instabilities. Okay, ups and downs of a business is known as nothing but instabilities. Right? Let you have the clarity. It is the initial stages. Let us take the example of mobile. It is macroeconomic, not single product. But here, for your understanding sense, I am giving the answer. Mobile, initial stages, 1 or 2 in a town. Okay, growth, minimum number of mobiles among the families. Right, boom. Each person is right now having one mobile. It became common thing. Right now we are in the boom stage of mobile. Yes or no? One day or the other day, if one fine new product has been innovated, right, it's not necessary to carry physically the mobile. As some chip, it can be introduced in the brain or in any body part so that we can activate. Just Google glasses, no need to carry. Just by keeping voice commands, it can Alexa, like that. No need to carry personally. Automatically what happens? If new innovation arises, what happens? The old product demand will decreases. So the product will enter into recession. If it is not controlled with new innovation, it leads to one day or the other day, the product will disappear. We call that as depression. And again, new product will start recovery. Okay, once again growth. Once again, new product will reach the boom. One day or another fine day, what happens? Another new innovation takes place. Recession. If it is not controlled, what happens? Leads to depression. Right. After depression, nowhere the economy will stop. Again, it will recover. Yes or no? This business cycles will continue in any economy. Whether it is a capitalist economy or socialist economy or mixed economy. If innovations are more, okay, are fast, automatically business cycles will take place very soon and sooner. Okay, na? That's it. So, when the economy is in facing ups and downs, that means business cycle, certainly the government has to go with the stabilization function, right? I'll tell you, right? In these stages, initial to boom, tell me what will be happening? Employment opportunities increases. With the increase in employment opportunities, investments also increases, right? Output also increases, right? Income also increases. So, aggregate demand also increases. Aggregate demand increases means general price level you have to write up. Prices also increases. That means inflation we are facing. Demand increases, income increases, output increases, employment increases, right? Prices increases, right? Everything is in the increasing phase. Yes or no? Even the producer will be optimist. Yes or no? Producer will be in optimism. Yes or no? Our income, employment, right? Our aggregate demand, prices, everything is going on rising. Even our standard of living also rises. Our cost of living also rises. Yes or no? Right. And this phase we call it as expansion. This phase is known as expansion. Come here. Recession. Employment opportunities decreases. Producers and investments decreases. Yes or no? Right. Output decreases. Income decreases. Right. Everything decreases. Demand, aggregate demand decreases. Right. General price level decreases. That means we have to experience here deflation. Yes or no? General price level decreases. Yes or no? Right. And this phase we call it as contractionary phase. So may I know, children, how many phases are there? May I know how many phases? 2 phases. What are they? Expansionary phase and contractionary phase. Hope you can understand. Totally 8 answers, and here 1 answer, 9 answers will be completed. Please keep concentration while you are doing, right? How many phases are there? 2 phases are there. What are they? Expansionary phase, contractionary phase. Over now? Expansionary phase and contractionary phase. But while we are representing, we don't represent with the phase, we represent with the stage. In the expansionary ends at boom. So we can call the stage as boom. During the boom, what will be the level of prices? Rising. So we have to write boom or inflation. So expansionary phase will be represented by the terms either boom or inflation. Right. After boom, contraction starts from recession. Expansion ends up to boom. Contraction starts from recession. So we have to give the continuity, no? Right. We can call it as a recession, or we can call it as deflation. Yes or no? Recession or deflation. That's it, no? Right. But in our syllabus, we are going to discuss with these 2 terms only. But in our material, they can ask even boom or inflation, no doubt in that. They can ask even recession or deflation, whatever they ask. But in our syllabus, our discussion will go with inflation and recession. We don't use the word of boom. At the same time, nowhere we come across the word of deflation. We use the terms of inflation and recession. Do okay? Right. This is the phase. This is the stage. Right. Now, money availability with the people, or money supply, or money in circulation, how it will be? During the boom or expansion, how will be the money supply? More. Yes or no? Next, how will be the contractionary phase? As unemployment is more, income level is decreasing, less. Right now, we as a government has to come with the fiscal policy. We have to use certain tools or instruments, and those instruments are known as fiscal instruments. Fiscal instruments. Let us give what are the fiscal instruments. Taxes, government expenditure, okay, government expenditure, taxes together is known as budget. Excess of expenditure over revenue leads to debt, public debt. So next chapter we are going to deal with these 4 topics. That's when we can conclude the next chapter also. The basis we are providing here itself, right? Now, fiscal instruments we are having 4. The first one is taxes, government expenditure, budget and public debt. That's it, no? Right. Children, if we don't control the money supply or money availability with the people, what happens? Still more money increases. Still, inflation increases. Inflation becomes uncontrollable and reaches to Venezuela countries 3 lakhs % of inflation. Yes or no? To control this inflation, what we have to do? We have to reduce the money supply with the people. Yes or no? What we have to do? We have to reduce the money supply with the people. To reduce the money supply, what we have to do? We have to, right, as a government, what we can do? At this topic, you have to think, you are the government or you are the consumer. Any topic that has been given, you take one role. Then you can understand the chapter very easily, right? While you are watching the match, right now IPL is going on, yes or no? Right? You have to think about batting, or you have to be from the batting side or from the bowling side, yes or no? Yes or no? Right. You think from one team, not from the both teams. Okay, one team, you can get the perfect answer, right? Now, think you right now as a government and you tell me, children, and inflation is there and all the people are having surplus money. So So they are increasing their demand. Still prices are going on increasing. The inflation is getting uncontrollable. So as a government, to control this inflation or expansion, what we have to do? We have to reduce the money supply with the people. To reduce the money supply, what we have to do? We have to increase the taxes. Yes or no? Right. We have to decrease the government expenditure, because the government, our expenditure, because we are providing pensions to the people. For us, it is an expenditure, but for the common people, it is an income. So we have to reduce our expenditure so that people income will decrease. So the availability with the money of the people also decreases. Yes or no? So as a government, we have to increase our revenue and we have to decrease our expenditure. Right now, if you compare these two situations, you can get that X of revenue over expenditure. Yes or no? Taxes are more. It's a revenue to the government, more revenue. Government expenditure is decreasing. Yes, expenditure is falling. So the government can experience surplus budget. Yes or no? Individually we can go, otherwise with the combination we can go. The government may use only one instrument, that is taxes. It can raise the taxes. Okay. Otherwise it can go for the fall in government expenditure. If it adopts the both, that means rise in taxes and the fall in government expenditure, the government has to experience a surplus budget. Right. Now, there is more money with the people. I need one answer. Right. As a government, let us repay the old debts to the people or borrow from the people. If we repay the old debts to the people, still money availability with the people increases, still inflation increases. So right now in this situation, please don't repay to the public. You just borrow from the public. How the government can borrow, we are having in the next chapter. That's it now. Can you understand these topics? Sir? Right. Yes, during the inflation, as more money is available with the people, I could not get sleep also. Right, what I have to do? I have to increase the taxes, or otherwise I have to go for the decrease in government expenditure. If I adopt the both, means I have to go for the budget, so I can experience the surplus budget. At the same time, I should not repay as a government to the public, because it increases the money availability with the people and still inflation increases, it becomes uncontrollable. So I have to borrow from the public. By doing all these activities, let me say what will be the effect on economy. Right, money supply with the people decreases. Yes or no? If money supply with the people decreases, economic activities slow down, aggregate demand decreases. Yes or no? Output decreases, overproduction decreases, in your sense. Okay, can you get this? It affects on economic activities, production, consumption, employment, income, everything you can go. But you specifically mentioned the aggregate demand. Because of rise in demand, only prices are increasing. So we have to reduce the demand. So you have to mention the aggregate demand. All these activities has been slowed down. Right now, we brought expansion in the economy or contraction in the economy. During expansionary phase, as there is more money with the people, by using different fiscal instruments like taxes, government expenditure and budget and public debt, we reduce the speed of economic activities. We are reducing means we are reducing the economic activities. That means, are we contracting or still we are expanding? We are contracting. So we call this as contractionary fiscal policy. So in the expansionary phase, the government has to bring the contractionary fiscal policy. Okay, right. Economy is in recession, deflation. People are facing different kinds of problems. Okay, right. It is a contractionary phase. Yes or no? In the contractionary phase, people are having less money. Yes. Right now, what we have to do? We have to increase their money availability. To increase their money availability means it increases the demand. If demand increases, what happens? Automatically supply increases. Producer becomes optimist. Prices increases. Everything we can bring the stability. Yes or no? Right. Ma'am, you told we have to reduce the economic activities. No, prices have to be reduced, you told. To what extent we have to reduce the prices? To what extent we face the inflation? To the same extent we have to bring down the inflation. Right now, 100 rupees is the base price, let us. Right. The price has been increased to 120. Right now, by taking these activities, we have to reduce the inflation from 120 rupees to back to pavilion, that is 100 rupees. To what extent there is a price instability, to the same extent we have to reduce the, okay, to what extent there is a price instability, to the same extent we have to reduce and we have to bring the price stability. That's it, right? People are not having money, so they could not pay the taxes. So as a government, let us reduce the taxes. So more money with them. Right. Let us increase the government expenditure. If we adopt the both excess of government expenditure over government revenue, it leads to deficit budget. Okay. Right now, as a government, would you like to repay or would you like to borrow? The people, they themselves are not having. Is it possible for us to borrow? No, and not at all. So what we have to do? We have to repay the old debts to the people so that their money availability will increases. Because of doing these things, the money availability with the people increases, their economic activity increases, demand increases, output increases, right? Prices also get increases. And right now we are reviving the economy and we are expanding the economy. So this policy is known as expansionary fiscal policy. That means in the expansionary phase, the government has to adopt contractionary fiscal policy. Right? Ultimately, right? During contractionary phase, we have to bring expansionary fiscal policy. That's it. The same answer has been provided for you here. Business cycle, inflation, recession, availability of money with the people. So with the fiscal instruments, what we have to do? Taxes, government expenditure, public debt, budget, effect on fiscal policy on aggregate demand, output and employment. What type of discretionary fiscal policy we have followed? In the expansionary phase, we followed the contractionary fiscal cycle. In the contraction phase, we followed the expansionary fiscal policy. That's it now. That's it. Why the instability occurs? Because of business cycles, right? Basis for the stabilization function of government means because of instabilities. How these instabilities have been caused means business cycles are natural phenomena. In every country there will be ups and downs. So it is the responsibility of the private sector. It alone neither prevent the business cycle nor recover from the business cycle. So the government has to come from forward in the form of business stabilization function. But you have to think one thing: if the government does not interfere, what happens? If government does not interfere, what happens? This phase becomes severe and proceeds for a long period of time. First one, instabilities may be prolonged for a long period of time. The next one is stagflation. What is the next one? Stagflation. Right. If government does not interfere during instabilities, what happens? It doesn't take up the function of stabilization function. What happens? The first one, instability prolongs. It takes a long period of time and the problem becomes severe. The next one is stagflation. Many people used to ask this topic. Stagflation is a combination of stagnation plus inflation. Inflation from here, stag from here, get together becomes stagflation, right? Every economy starting they faces the inflation, then only they enter into the recession. Yes or no? In this process, what happens? Let me see. First one, inflation. We are unable to control. Okay, right. At the same time, after reaching inflation peak point, boom point, after maximum, we can't reach maximum. Certainly, there will be a downfall. Okay, certainly there will be a downfall. First of all, economy will face stagnation. Stagnation means no change in the economy. The growth rate decreases. Growth rate becomes stagnant, first of all. High prices, inflation as usual. As growth becomes stagnant, further we cannot accommodate more employment. So which problem arises? Unemployment arises. And this inflation continues. Right. After demonetization, India is facing initially the recession started after the demonetization, and basically many other reasons, and this affected a lot, we can say, no doubt in that, because it prolonged a month of 6.5 months. We experienced the scarcity of money availability in the economy because of demonetization, right? Recession has been started. Right now we are in recession only. After this COVID-19 pandemic situation also, we can say that this recession became stronger, and we have to decide whether we are in depression or in recession, because our economic growth rate has been reached minus 25%, yes or no, approximately, right? So we can say, right, this is the situation. We are in recession, India, yes or no? At the same time, our present inflation rate is 5.6%. You can watch it out. We are facing recession, at the same time inflation. Two phases at a single time. If we try to control the recession, inflation increases. If we try to control the inflation, the recession will increases. This becomes more critical, and it is highly impossible to solve it. First of all, to be open and frank, the best economists, whomever they may come, this situation to be out of this means it becomes a drastic for anyone. But clear? The problems becomes more critical. That means stagflation. Two features, expansion features will be there, contractionary features will be there. Both are there. If we control the expansion, contraction features become severe. If we control the contraction, expansion features will become severe. So we cannot bring the stability in the economy. Like that it happens. Okay, right. We call that as stagflation. Stagflation means stagnation plus inflation, unemployment plus inflation, like that. Whatever may be the topic, growth rate you can take, aggregate demand, everything you can take, right? Right, the last one, contagion effect. This is the last topic of this chapter, right? What is the contagion effect? Coronavirus started in Wuhan city of China, yes or no? And right now it has been spread to entire world. This is also known as contagion effect, right? China is telling that it's not the source of China. WHO, you want means you have to make some commission on this, because it has been started in different countries, but it has been increased in our country, and it came to be known that it has started in our country. China is arguing from its side, and USA political side, they are telling that totally blaming China, and we don't know what is correct and what is wrong. Better leave it. Right now I am telling you, if recession of one country spreads to other countries, right, we call it as contagion effect. If the inflation or better boom position of one country passes to another country because of interdependency of international trade, we call it as contagion effect. If it spreads from one country to the entire world, we call it as, not only the trade, some part of the world also we can say, we call it as contagion effect. That's it. If the instability is not controlled by the government through stabilization function, the country has to experience, what it has to experience, longer period of particular stage, and it becomes more critical, leading to stagflation. That means two phases combination they have to face, that is stagnation and inflation, that is unemployment and inflation, and the last one, and it's not only stopped to that particular country, it will spread to entire world, and we call that as a contagion effect. That's it. We had concluded the fiscal function chapter. You can get the topic regarding to this, and in this topic I told you, first of all, what we are going to discuss. I told you in this chapter, role of government in market economy, in the words of Adam Smith, traditional function, Richard Musgrave, fiscal function. What are the three fiscal functions? Resource allocation function, we experienced misallocation, the government aimed at efficient allocation, and government instruments to rectify, to bring the resource allocation. Distribution function, what are the aims of distribution function? The progressive taxation and subsidies to the poor. You can do in your own words regarding to distribution function. That means to reduce the income inequalities. The last one is stabilization function. Right now we told that when there are business cycles or instability in the economy, the private sector cannot prevent or cannot resolve this problem. So the government has to come with the stabilization function through fiscal instruments. So what are the four fiscal instruments? Taxes, government expenditure, budget, and public data. And two types of fiscal policy we studied here: discretionary, contractionary fiscal policy during expansionary phase, and expansionary fiscal policy during contractionary phase. That's it. We have concluded the topic of fiscal function. The next chapter in this is the fiscal policy chapter, has been divided into 4 units. We have concluded the first unit over.
Hi students, I am Prakash, Academic Advisor, Masterminds. Just now you have watched a sample video of our rapid revision batches for CA Inter level. So we are very happy to say that we have developed this kind of rapid revision batches for all the subjects of CA Inter and IPCC level. And if you are interested, then you can directly purchase rapid revision batch videos of your choice from our app. So first of all, you please do install our Android app Masterminds Online Classes from Google Play Store. So after that, click the option Store. After that, select the filter CA Inter RRB. CA Inter RRB. Yeah, here it is CA Inter RRB. So whatever the subject you want, you can purchase the same. And for each video, there will be around 6 months of validity. That means whenever you purchase a course, there will be 6 months of validity. That means you can watch at any time before 6 months after the date of purchase. And we will be giving 1.5 views. That means each 1 hour of video you can watch for around 1.5 hours. And these videos can be watched directly in your mobile phone. And if you belong to iOS platform, then please do install an app called Class Plus and enter the organization code as MZGUN. I hope that you liked the sample video of RRB subject being uploaded by us, and please do subscribe this channel so that you can receive a notification whenever we add a new video, and also press the like button if you really like this video, and also press the bell icon so that you will receive a notification. And please do send a mail to my mail ID if at all you have any academic doubts or issues. My mail ID is mssprakash2012@gmail.com. So once you visit our app, not only RRB videos, you can find large number of other videos also. If you belong to CA Inter, then so in the filter section you can select the option CA Inter. Then all the videos related to CA Inter will be visible to you. So just now I have pressed the option of CA Inter. Now all these are the videos available for CA Inter. For example, if you want to watch the videos of a particular subject at CA Inter level, or a particular chapter at CA Inter level, either of regular batch or crash batch, all such videos are already available in the app. So the videos related to CA Inter regular batches, videos related to CA Inter crash batches are already available in this app. Either you can purchase a particular subject, or sometimes even some few chapters, or even the entire group you can purchase directly from the app. That is the convenience with which you can watch the videos by installing our app. All the best. Let's have a glimpse into the roots of the Masterminds. So Masterminds were established in 2002 and is undeniably the pioneer and the leader in MEC, CA and CMA coaching in India, with a lion's share of nearly 20,000 admissions per annum. It is an incredible initiative by 3 visionary edupreneurs. That is me, MSS Prakash, Chartered Accountant, my brother Mohan, my sister-in-law Radha, from the same family at a very young age, under the successful mentorship of our father, Mr. M. Sivaprasad. Within the shortest span, our presence have expanded to almost all major cities of AP and Telangana. We are humbled to say that very soon we want to expand to the states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu also, so especially with the wishes and support of all our old students. We offer best quality services for MEC with integrated coaching for CRCMA Foundation. Exclusive MEC CEC coaching is also available. Regular class, study hours and revision exams, MMTS services, for all the levels of CSCMA courses. And recently we launched a unique academic program called MEC Pro, aiming the students who aspire to pursue BBA, CLAT or MBA in future rather than CSCMA courses, and we have received excellent response. So our students have achieved first rank for 47 times in various courses that we offer coaching. Till now, our students have bagged 977 All India ranks in all the stages of CSCMA courses. So 98 All India ranks in a single attempt of CMA inter and final exams, and 180 All India ranks in CSCMA courses in 2019 and 20 alone. So 3 All India first ranks in the year 2020 alone. So right now we have around 150 batches of various courses in Guntur and all our branches together.